Good time.
All right. Hey everyone, I'm David. I'm a graduate student here at SEAS. And today I'd like to tell you guys about a very easy method for evaluating all those ideas that you generate when you're brainstorming. So that method is the Pew method. So a quick little bit of background about Stuart Pew, who developed this method. He was a designer in the UK, and he has many years of experience with different companies over there, and then became a professor in Scotland. And he's written numerous books on design, as well as the process of bringing products from seedling up to an actual fabrication process. And so one of the key things that I got out of looking at a lot of his information is that design cannot be purely done by analysis. And in fact, analysis is somewhat less than adequate because it takes a long time to modify it. So just imagine if you were running some sort of simulation that didn't take into account how someone would actually feel about a product or any sort of humanity to it. It would be a very slow process, and you wouldn't necessarily get to the most optimum design. So he believed, and for a good reason, that design is very important. And so you can see a large percent of cost is actually of a product is actually occurs during or is set during the design phase. So you can see that here this pie graph shows the product cost that actually incurred from design is very small, 6%. However, the actual cost that's set during the design stage is large. It could be up to 70, and some people think up to 85%. And this makes sense when you think once you select an actual design and you stick with it, a lot of manufacturing processes, as well as materials and purchasing and administration is set for you, just based on what that design is and how you're going to make it. So coming up with a good way to shoot through all of your brainstorming ideas to get to the most optimum design can save you tons of money and time. A little bit of a refresher on the problem-solving process. You first want to go, as we've learned many times, is to define the problem. And this can be reframing it in such a way that you can actually find a solution. But in this case, I'm going to tell you about problem definition in the context of setting criteria for evaluating ideas. And then there's also this next blue phase that I've shown. This is sort of the brainstorming area. And that can be when you generate the idea as well as evaluate the idea. And then you can judge the idea after you brainstorm, because we've heard, be very delicate to your ideas. They're like children. Be nice to them. And then finally, you implement your idea. So the Pew method fits right here in this idea generation, in between idea generation and evaluation. And so it's really a very simple way to sift through tons of brainstorming potential ideas. Potentially. Okay. So in summary, the Pew evaluation process is two phases. The first phase is the criteria phase, where you select criteria by which to compare. Criteria to compare your ideas to. The next is to actually figure out ways, a few concepts to solve this problem, then create an evaluation matrix and run through the evaluation, and then narrow down your designs and reach a superior concept. So really the key is going from a very broad number of designs in your general brainstorming area, and then narrowing it down and honing in on a very perfect or optimum choice. So when you're selecting criteria, you want it to be a team discussion. And so this is a perfect way to take a large group of people and get them to discuss ideas in great detail. And they should be very comprehensive, relevant, and explicit. But if you have too many constraints, you can actually limit some very good ideas. So you have to be very careful, and this is an art in itself in selecting criteria for how to judge ideas, because you can actually limit creativity and limit good solutions just by ruling it out and saying, well, we don't think it's feasible, we have to chop it out. So a good way that Stuart Pugh developed in his technique is to use a benchmark or a data, which is typically the best product, the product that currently exists, or your best idea, and use that to be the standard by which you compare all your future ideas to. A few examples could be the quality of the product, the low cost, manufacturability, environmental impact, creativity, etc. And the next stage is actually conceptualizing some designs. Original designs and concepts, can be brainstormed by small teams. And you guys are all familiar with this, and I'm sure you've reached a point in a brainstorming session where you have 100 ideas that can all be equally good, and you have no way to really get through them or start cutting them out in a diplomatic way or a fair way that the entire team can be on board with. And I thought that this cartoon sort of illustrated something of that extent. How do we get the electricity from our nuclear plant to ammonia, to the toasters over here? And they said, let's brainstorm and remember not to judge ideas at this stage. And their boss says, I'm thinking huge barges, trained porpoises, lots of them. And you're just trying not to judge. But what this is illustrating is what they really need is a way to take his idea, not tell him it's a stupid idea, and show him that it's not a good idea. And so the way to do this is with an evaluation matrix. So what you want to do is you take your criteria. So those example criteria I said are here. You list them down in this first column. It would be high quality, low cost, manufacturability, environmental impact, and you compare them to a datum. And the datum, like I said, is your benchmark. And that could be already like maybe your competitor's best idea, or some within the group already the best idea. And then you take your concepts A, B, and C, and you plot them against. And then you compare each one to the datum and see if it's favorable or unfavorable compared to it. Or if it's a push, it's a push. So so then you start populating. A 1 could be, this is better, a -1 is, this is worse, and a 0 is not as good. Again, this is very simple. You guys would think this makes sense, but if you don't have the data, you just start comparing all of these things, and you don't get anywhere. So now you look and you say, all right, well, concept A has the most positives. Let's take concept A, and we know it's better than concept B, which has these negatives and only one positive, so let's cut it out. So now this is a way to narrow down your ideas and bring everyone in on the process. So the key here is to take a long time to do it, and you're supposed to really think about all the processes, and you don't jump to conclusions. And you can have maybe 3 separate teams, one on concept A, one on concept B, one on concept C. They can really think of the details and say this one is much better than that one, or this one is worse. So, but actually comparing it really helps simultaneously to come up with a good concept and bringing the team together. So it's a team building exercise as well as a concept generation, a brainstorm tool. So, in summary, the Pugh method is a multi-phase process that is used to choose the best idea from a large selection. But really, the best way to do it is to actually try it. So, and make sure you compare the ideas to that. So, I'd like to do a quick in-class example with you guys to actually give you guys a feel for how this works. And so, I'd like you guys to redesign an hourglass. And so you guys are all familiar with an hourglass. Design a simple one that makes a sound when the time's up. Or design a simple hourglass that can be used when you're playing a game that can be dumped instantly. So you don't have to wait for the glass to empty itself out before we start the next round. So I would like to maybe take a couple minutes for you guys to volunteer some criteria by which we can measure this. So everyone's familiar with what we're going to use as the datum here, right? Those small little hourglasses that have sand and they last about a minute, and when you flip it over, it continues to pour out. But then, if someone answers the question correctly, you have no chance. You have no way of resetting it. You have to wait until it pours all the way out. So, does anyone have any ideas for criteria to measure? Yeah.
Speed of resetting.
Speed of resetting. That's a good one. Yeah.
It has to be accurate.
Accurate. Yeah. So speed, accuracy. All right, and how about one more?
Simplicity.
Simplicity in manufacturing or sound in just
And the mechanism.
yeah, sure. Okay. So how about one or two, maybe three ideas for how we can do this? Easy that don't even think about the criteria first. Just throw out three easy ideas we can shoot down and talk about. Yeah.
The little narrow part of the hourglass can be adjusted such that it can be made wider or smaller. So you can,
Okay. So it'd be sort of like a telescoping
yeah.
center point. So we can have the so we'll have datum and then we'll have telescoping. All right. Another idea? I don't know. Yeah.
Some sort of like pipe that runs on the outside to connect part of the chamber to the other one so that it could, when you turn it over, it would fill and it would only go in one direction.
Oh, okay, okay. So like
Some sort of like outlet.
right, the pipe outlet. So we have the outlet. Okay. Maybe one more. If anyone's got one quick, or we can talk about this. Yeah.
How about just a digital hourglass instead of using the actual sound?
Like a
Yeah, something that would have a buzzer.
All right. Sure. And digital.
No one
Yeah.
that one was.
So we have datum, we have telescoping, we have outlet, and we have digital. Criteria. All right. So how would the telescoping lens compare to the datum and speed? Would it be the same? Would it be better? Or would it be worse? Better? You guys all think it would be better? Okay. So this is a 0. This will be a 1. What about the diverting tunnel idea? You guys think that would be faster? Yeah. Yeah. Okay. What about the digital clock? Would that be
Yeah.
faster? Yeah. All right. All right. That's good. So favorably against the datum. So what about accuracy?
Might not be okay.
It's 0 or maybe minus. So we can go 0. It might be as good. What about the outlet?
This side.
Same.
Could have
Zero.
some issues.
Yeah, we might. In the digital,
Should be more
should be
accurate.
good. All right. So what about simplicity?
Less simple.
Less simple? Yeah. Probably. But yeah. Okay. And the tunnel? Less simple. Digital?
Way less.
Way less.
All right. So the key is not to add them all together. You just want to kind of be like, this is +1 and -1, and this is +1 and -2. And this could be +2 and -1. So now you'll compare these to the datum and say, well,
That's a sweet plus.
this one has, oh, this is supposed to be plus. This is the most pluses and the lowest minuses, so this could be our new datum. And now you could send this through another round of results, and maybe there's ways to combine these two designs, and the design can evolve from there. So, let's say now from, this telescoping idea, maybe you can incorporate a digital and a telescoping thing together, and that could be another idea by which you can compare. And it's supposed to just be simultaneously narrowing as well as strengthening the ideas. So, yeah, that's pretty much it.